why are you guys not doing this? Why are you guys not doing that? And maybe I can kind of explain why downtown Sulphur still looks like a bomb exploded in a war zone. Well, what's up, guys? It's Daniel from Arms Family Homestead, and it has officially been 3 weeks since our hometown of Sulphur, Oklahoma was hit by what most people are saying an EF3 tornado. It's a depressing place, but April 27th, 2024, a night that probably no one in this little small town will ever forget. I think we had 3 different tornadoes come through our area. My family and I live about 10 miles south of here, and we were in our little tornado shelter. There was one tornado come through. I've explained all that, showed the damage and everything. But the main tornado that did the most damage hit this town, our hometown. And a lot has gone on over the last 3 weeks. I spent basically the first 7 days helping out where I could. I had my Cotto mini excavator down here, and right now I'm kind of in the downtown district, which is what took the hardest hit. And a lot of our downtown district was like nationally recognized as a historic downtown. We had 100-plus-year-old buildings that were just completely demolished, and there are literally people everywhere. I know I'm filming, but this is like the 4th vehicle from out of state that's gone by just since DJ and I pulled up here. But so many people are coming to see it. But anyways, our historic downtown district has been just demolished, as you can see. And it's like memories of everything. This was Dr. Randy Williams' doctor's office for many years, and our post office is over here. And I don't know, I feel like when one of these storms happen, you get a flood of news media. All the news channels come in, and within about 2 days they're gone, and nobody ever really gets to see what it's like in the aftermath. And a lot of folks ask why, when I think I made 4 or 5 different videos cleaning up damage and stuff, and a lot of folks ask why. I mean, it's just the same thing over and over. And I think some of the local folks were like, why is he doing that? But it was really mostly to bring awareness to our situation, to our community. My family didn't necessarily suffer any major loss other than my mother-in-law's business. She did have a boutique store that was completely gutted, and so she's lost her career. But as far as my household, we weren't severely impacted by this. But this is a small community. We've got about 5,000 people. I grew up here. Sulphur, Oklahoma is my hometown, and it means a lot to me. It means a lot when you're from a small community. The people mean a lot to you, and I felt like it was important to spread what was going on, spread the news of what was going on, because so many people out there are willing to help. And they started the fund at Bank First, and I brought that to you guys' attention and showed everyone. And I have no idea how many people donated, but I do know that my wife got a phone call from that bank right over here. It's called Bank First, that said, hey, I don't know what you guys are doing, but a lot of people are donating money, and that means a lot to us. And I wanted to thank you guys for helping us, for helping our town, for helping our community, because there's just something special about being from a small town. And if you didn't grow up in a small town, you probably don't understand, because big cities, city life is just different. I mean, you look around and you know the buildings because you've been here, but you know the people. You know who owns Bates Tag Agency right there. You know who owns Albritton Insurance. And, every office along the way, and every business and every store has a story and a history. And for you guys to get behind that and donate money and donate things to help out, it really meant a lot, and we appreciate it. So I'm going to drive around. We're going to look around, take you around to some of the residential areas where I spent most of the week working, and kind of update you guys on what's going on, because people are curious. I feel like after the news media leaves within a couple days, nobody knows what's going on, and nobody knows And even through the videos that I did, people were saying, well, why are you just cleaning up trees? Why are you guys not doing this? Why are you guys not doing that? And maybe I can kind of explain why downtown Sulphur still looks like a bomb exploded in a war zone. There's our little home base, my buddy's store that used to be there, the old liquor store. So I did a video a while back. You remember when I took the skid steer, my brush cutter over, and I did a job for some folks and cleaned up where they want to build a house. I said it was my former pastor's property. Well, this was the house they lived in before they moved. One of the houses they lived in. Probably a 100-year-old home. Obviously, the roof's completely gone. It's tough because when you say you know the people, like, it's not just you know who they are. Like, the people here just mean a lot to us. And the residential side that got hit is starting to look a lot better, but it's still bad. The family that lived in that house right there on the corner, bring your phone in so the wind. The family that lived in this house right here on the corner was my first grade school teacher, Mrs. Palmer, and her husband, he was the manager of the meat market in our grocery store for probably 30 years, but Mrs. Palmer was my teacher when my mom died in a car accident. I'll never forget her. This little house belongs to my cousin, and it doesn't look like a whole lot of damage, but the backside of the house is messed up. It's off the foundation, I guess, a little bit. Had a couple trees fall on the backside, but it totaled his truck, and the house is going to have to be demolished, and he did not have insurance on the truck or the house. It's just a scary thing for a lot of people. So there's just areas, blocks where there used to be homes that there's nothing now but debris and trash, and it's hard to explain. I don't feel like any of us knew really what all this was going to entail and what it was going to bring. And when the cleanup started, we basically just started with trees and brush and limbs because that's what we could do. And that's what the insurance company said we could touch. All the insurance companies basically had to come in and do assessments of homes and structures and all of that. So if there were trees and fences and limbs and all the brush and stuff, that's what we could start on to start making a difference, because, well, our town is full of trees, or it was. But another thing, a lot of folks, I think, thought when we said Sulphur was hit by a tornado and Sulphur was devastated by a tornado, I think a lot of people took that as most of our town was wiped off the map, and that's just not the case. It did devastate our national park, which is horrible. It looks so bad in our beautiful park, but that'll be, the National Park Service can clean up their mess. The downtown historic district got damaged really, really bad, and that's going to be a whole nother process. But the residential area, I think, like I said, we're a town of about 5,000 people. The last number I heard was there was somewhere between 80 and 100 homes that had either significant damage all the way through to completely destroyed. And there's probably a lot more with very minor damage, but close to 100 homes that were significantly damaged. Now, there's that house on that side, that house on that side, but the one in the middle was completely leveled. And that's not just cleanup. There's been some cleanup done, but that house was completely demolished. So driving around checking out some of these residential areas, that looking at some of the same houses where Dusty and I and Dutch and Kevin and all the people that came in to help and everybody worked, you can see these landowners, these property owners, the homeowners have done a lot of work. But you've still got these houses that are obviously in horrible condition. And, you know, these folks are waiting on either if they had insurance coverage, if they had adequate coverage to pay for demolition, or a lot of them didn't have insurance. A lot of the homes in this side of town were 100-plus-year-old homes that older folks may not have had insurance. And then a lot were rentals. And, you know, that's on the land, the actual owner of the home to have that insurance coverage, but a lot of the renters did not. That structure wasn't there. That's new. So it's obviously a devastating thing that's happened to our community, but it's been amazing to see the people, to see the outpouring of support from everyone else in town. Because as I said, I think a lot of people thought that Sulphur got wiped off the map, and it was really the downtown district and one portion of the residential area. If say we're 5,000 people in this town and 100 homes got hit, that's obviously nowhere near all the homes. It's a very small swath. The tornado, if you looked at it from above, just kind of snakes around through the town, and it hit a lot of homes with a lot of people that are going to struggle for a long time. And you know, I mentioned earlier, we talked about that fund through Bank First and the donations that people were given. And DJ and I 100% witnessed two people that we know very well, have known most of our life, that are members of a board, a committee that were in charge of that fund through Crossway Church. They were walking around town, probably 4 days after the tornado, writing checks. I mean, every person they could find that had a house that lived here or worked here where the tornado hit, they were writing checks. Now, how much they were writing checks for, I don't know, but DJ's mom got a phone call one day, and they walked up and handed her a check. Some friends of ours, that young couple, live kind of just on the fringes. Like, they barely really had not a lot of damage to their house, but some trees and stuff. They walked by their house, said, "Hey, here's a check." And I don't know how much money was raised, how much money is still coming in, but I do know, as I said, you guys donated enough that it caught the bank's attention, and they called DJ and said, "Hey, I don't know what you guys are doing, but it's working." And that means a lot to us. It's incredible.
I saw the bank calling, I was like, uh-oh, because we've got all our kids and stuff on there, and so, but it turned out to be a great phone call. So yeah, it was very nice.
Now, I have no idea how much money was raised, how much money, I don't know any of those details, probably none of my business, but it's all done through the bank, and then the church is overseeing the distribution of the funds. But even that's only going to go so far. If somebody walks around and hands out a couple checks for a couple $1,000s, if every homeowner got 2 or 3 checks over the next few weeks for a couple $1,000s a piece, that doesn't replace this kind of damage. And insurance companies have a place, and I know a lot of folks have insurance, but that only goes so far. You still got a huge loss, a huge devastation. And what does that look like for a small community? If we lost 100 homes, that's a lot of rent houses. That's a lot of probably a lot of lower income families that are living paycheck to paycheck. And a lot of those folks lost their house and their car. Yeah. And then with the downtown district being damaged, a lot of folks lost their job. Yeah. So we're already hearing stories of people going, "Well, I can't find a rent house in Sulphur. I can't find anywhere to live." Because if, let's say, 50 rental homes got hit, and that's 50 families looking for another place to rent, Well, there's only so many rental houses in our town, so we're already hearing stories of people moving out, moving to different towns so that they can find a place to live. And so then you're losing kids from the school system, and you're losing economic, you're losing tax revenue for everything from grocery stores to boutique stores like her mom owned. And I don't think our town even knows how big of an economic hit we're going to have. I was talking to a guy the other day, I'm not going to say any names, but they had some rental cabins. So we live next to a national park. We've got all these creeks and streams and rivers, and brings a lot of people in, but we also have a lake that's part of the national park. So there's rental cabins all around the lake. And this one property owner that has cabins said they had already had over $10,000 in cancellations for this summer.
So much.
People that had reserved a cabin to come down and hang out in our town, to come in and bring tax revenue, to buy groceries and buy gas and go shopping and do all those things. His business alone, his rental cabin business, he had lost $10,000 worth of reservations. Which
is crazy, really, because, I mean, there's still all the things here to do, really, except for the downtown shopping.
It is, but when it comes out on the news, and even our videos, we didn't show, and the news didn't show, hey, 80% of Sulphur is still fine.
Yes.
But what the news showed and what everybody talks about is the national park was closed completely. They did 100% close everything in the national park for over a week, for about 2 weeks. But that's because they were using all of their maintenance employees to do cleanup. So then they didn't have anybody to go pick up trash and clean bathrooms and get campgrounds ready. They just closed everything. So I think people thought the national park's gonna be closed all summer. But and they just instantly booked something else.
Yeah.
So.
But since then, park people from all over have come in, and there's already trails open back up. Obviously they had to cut trees and move all that, and a lot of the areas are back open already.
Yeah, it's things are opening back up, especially with the park and all of that. They'll get it cleaned up. The park is going to be amazing. It looks to us, to the local people, it looks devastating because there's a swath of our park that's gone. Basically the trees, like 100-plus-year-old trees, are gone. But that's what we see. Somebody coming from out of town is just going to say, huh, look, it's an open field, because they didn't know what it looked like before. So I don't know, it's just the economic hit that we're going to take as a community is going to be tough over the next couple of years, because a lot of people lost their jobs, a lot of people lost their houses, and they're going to have to go somewhere else and find that. And tourism is huge in our area because of our national park. And if we lose the tourists, if you guys don't come hang out in our national park, that's a huge economic loss for our community. That brings us downtown, our historic downtown Sulphur. Behind me here, this was called the Flower Bluff Manor. The Flower Bluff Mansion had a couple different names, I guess. Historic, like very well-known home in our little town. And a young couple bought that. I say a young couple, probably in their early 30s, bought that within the last year or so. And downstairs, the bottom part of it was like a steakhouse, had a restaurant, and then upstairs, I'm not sure if they were doing like an Airbnb or a bed and breakfast type place, but that structure right there, that building right there, their first bid for demolition, $254,000. I have no idea what they paid for the place. But if it costs $254,000 to tear it down, like, how much is insurance going to cover? And you can't replace something like that. They could build something else there. They could build a restaurant on that hill. There's some guys working there. I would go show you around the building a little bit more. But what can they build? Because that historic charm of what that place was is gone. And you can't replace that. So downtown Sulphur, I am not a business owner. I'm not a building owner, but I've talked to a lot of folks that are, and I've talked to a lot of businesses and just different people. And there's been so many meetings with city officials and FEMA and the Red Cross and all the disaster relief stuff. And pretty much so far, everyone I've talked to that's dealt with FEMA has kind of been denied. FEMA's been here, but I don't know what all they're going to be able to do. But folks that have talked about it and said that FEMA's going to help, it's a long-term process. You're talking about years of getting things funded, I guess. But it sounds like there's not going to be much help for the downtown business owners as far as demolition and rebuild and all of that. A lot of these buildings that were registered historic, like nationally registered historic buildings, are too far gone to repair. So the National Registry, and I don't know how all that works, basically it's just said, well, there's not enough of the building left, so we're taking it off the registry. So it's not even a historic building anymore. And yes, it's probably all going to be on the property owners and the building owners to do the demolition and rebuild. But if you got something like this that was 100-year-old building, and this corner here was owned by a furniture company. They had used this area for storage, and that building was empty, but it was owned by a family that was planning on and hoped to put a store in there. And right here was our plaza. We had like concerts and events, downtown events and car shows, and all that stuff took place here. But let's say you're a business owner that owns one of these buildings, and let's say you bought that building for $150,000. And it probably needed a lot of work, so you put some money into it, and you opened up a store, and that store made you a decent income. Let's say that store made you $50,000, $60,000 a year. But then the storm comes through and does this, and your insurance company may help you do the demolition. But say, like the Flower Bluff, there's no way. $250,000 is extreme. But let's say it costs you $100,000 to get it cleaned up. Insurance company covers that, and then they pay replacement costs of a 100-year-old building. They're not going to pay to put it back in that historic condition. There's no way. But say replacement cost per square foot, your $150,000 building that you put another $50,000 into to open up, replacement cost is probably going to be $300,000-$400,000 in today's economy. Well, is it even going to be justifiable for a lot of these small businesses that just make a decent income to go $500,000 into debt? I don't know. I just don't see how it works. And yes, insurance is going to help with a lot of it, but I just foresee our downtown area, a lot of these buildings, it's going to take a long time to get cleaned up. The downtown district has not even started cleanup because they're waiting on stuff with FEMA and, all the things. But it's just horrible to look at. It's horrible. It's sad to see. So much history, so many, but the people. There is history here. There are historic buildings that are cool, but it's the people, it's the business owners, it's the just our local folks that are just devastated that, I don't know. Like, DJ, what's your mom going to do? She had a store downtown, a boutique store that she's built up for the last, 5 years or more?
Yeah, at least.
And one night, one little storm comes through, it's gone, So, yeah, she could open up a store somewhere else, but the problem is I think I saw a number on Facebook the other day, somebody counted it up, there was like 27, 28 businesses that are basically destroyed in the downtown area. And a lot of those were like little boutique stores or antique shops or law offices. But if you take 30 business spaces out, where do they go? Because this was the shopping district. Mm-hmm. This was where people came for the little knick-knack stores and boutique stores. And like that right there was 3rd and Broadway. It was a little boutique store. When I was a kid, it was a liquor store, and there was a laundromat next door. And our town doesn't even have a laundromat right now. But let's say we had 6 or 7 attorneys and a eye clinic and a couple insurance offices and 8 or 10 boutique and antique stores. Well, there's not enough office spaces in this town available now to fill all those spaces. So even if Donna wanted to open another store right now, there's very few options. And the ones that are options are not in the shopping area, you know. So a boutique store on the wrong side of town isn't going to get the foot traffic that where she was, because it was less than a block from the Artesian Hotel and Casino, which was put in by the Chickasaw Nation. Probably 150 room hotel is a big tourist attraction to our town. And then that whole downtown historic district, shopping district, is kind of built around the Artesian Hotel. And luckily the Artesian was not damaged by the storm, but all the shopping district is. So where does that leave business owners that, I mean, like Donna was a renter. It's not like she could even rebuild where she was if that building owner doesn't put in some sort of building that's got spaces for her to even lease. So I don't even know what that looks like. It's hard. It's tough. What are you turkeys doing? Goose? What do you think about the tornado damage? Nothing? You've never gone silent. That's interesting. Larry, you got anything to say about the tornadoes? Nothing? You give me knuckles today? You in for knucks today? Give me nuts. Come on. No knuckles? Alright, bro. Fine. Well, made it home. Been feeding the animals, taking care of everybody. We do not have any fence rebuilt yet, but we'll get there. It's as you can see, a muddy mess. It did rain half the day today, so we weren't able to do any fence work like I had hoped. So I know the tornado damage stuff is kind of all over the place, but I hope that kind of clears up a few questions for you guys. And why did we start cleaning all the trees and brush and all that so fast? Well, really, in my mind, it was the biggest thing we could do to make an impact quickly. And that wasn't when I say we, it wasn't my idea. It was just as a community in general, as a whole, getting out and cleaning up trees. That gave, a lot of the streets were blocked and a lot of houses and structures were blocked. So getting in there and cleaning up all the brush and trees kind of brings it back to a little bit of normalcy, I guess. Excuse you, Phoebe. My donkey just about knocked me down. But there was just so much of a mess. It's unreal. And now folks are going in and they've had time to get with their insurance adjusters and figure out what's going to have an insurance claim and what's not. And there's just so much debris and things that have to be cleaned up. I mean, the residential areas are coming along a little bit. There's still a lot of houses that haven't even been touched yet. But when it comes down to downtown, nothing's being done yet. I mean, there's very little progress that's been made in the downtown district at all. And like I said earlier, that's partially because they're still waiting to hear back get the final say so. Listen, my mother-in-law went to a meeting where it was all the downtown business owners and building owners and all that stuff this week, and a few other people that I talked to went to that meeting, and they were basically told, hey, just hold off, because there is a chance there's going to be some federal funding to help clean up, and there is a chance that FEMA's going to get involved and pay some money for cleanup. And there's a couple different options. If it's done on the 100%, hey, what are you doing? If it's done on the... What are you doing? You're biting me and someone kicked mud all over me. If it's done on a 100% basis through FEMA, like a 100% cleanup basis, then the business owners wouldn't be out any money. The building owners wouldn't be out any money in the business district, I guess. But they don't know that that's going to happen. There is a chance there may be a partial, like a percentage with FEMA. because it's a historic downtown, there may be some assistance, some federal grants and things. And if it's a partial, like a 60-40 split, then it will be up to the individual business owners and property owners to clean up their property and then eventually get reimbursed. But we know how, you know, the federal government works at the speed of the growth of a tree, maybe, you know. They don't move fast. And the honest facts are Oklahoma is a very Republican state, and our federal, you know, our president's not all about the Republican Party right now. So that may be slow played. But if there is, you know, a declaration where there's 100% coverage by FEMA, FEMA hires a contractor, from what I understand. That contractor comes in and does all of the demolition and cleanup. But that's probably pretty highly unlikely, honestly. And I don't think anybody's trying to get out of paying for their own property and all of that stuff. But if there is assistance from FEMA, it's best for them to wait and get all the T's crossed and I's dotted and all the paperwork done properly. It's just a shame that it takes so long, because as a community, it was so cool to see everybody come together in that first week, 2 weeks, and see how much progress was made and how much cleanup was done. And then it was like progress halted, and it feels like nothing's being done now, which that doesn't mean it's not, but it just doesn't look like anything's being done. It's hard to see progress like it was that first week. So I don't know. Our downtown district will never be the same, but that's okay. Sulphur's going to make it through this as a community. We've got so many good people, and this disaster has brought such awesome light to so many good folks, so many good-hearted people, and just the things that have been done and the things that people are doing to help each other out, and folks that come in from out of town and out of state, and people that donate money, and all the prayers and all the donations. It's unreal. It's amazing to see that there really is still that much good in our world, because all we ever see is the bad, I feel like. And that's one of my goals with social media. Is everybody always says social media is the devil and they hate social media and Facebook's horrible, and it can be, but I feel like there's still a good, hardcore, good-hearted American spirit, and disasters like this bring that out. And it sucks that you have to go through these things and see that, you know, kind of chaos and disaster, and it sucks for the people. It sucks for a small town community when you know everybody. I mean, it's good that we know everybody, because everybody's a tight-knit group, you know, but it's hard to see your family and friends hurting and devastated, and their careers gone, and their homes gone, and their vehicles gone. And it's just tough to see, but that's what we're going through right now. So anyways, Houston just yelled at me, supper's ready, so I've got to go. And Charlie, I gotta go, buddy. You have a good evening. Hey, Mama, how's your baby? Can we leave Baker in charge for the evening? Baker, can you handle this stuff for the evening? Can you keep Charlie in line for me? You're a sweet little baby, you know that? You're a sweet little girl. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. All right, guys, remember, do something today to make somebody smile, because you never know. It just might change the world. Huh, Charlie? So, guys, thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. You guys have a great day. And as always, we'll see you on the next video.